everything. I'm just waiting on the fire chief. So, how's this look? Good? Everybody here? Everything okay? A lot of stuff up here. All right. Roy Macoso, Deputy Chief. I'm the PIO. Just the format, I'll just kind of tell what happened, and then the chief will make a couple remarks, and then I'll answer questions. Thanks. Chief Farina.
Okay.
I think Chief Katie wanted you, otherwise, if not, that's good.
We can just go.
Okay.
let's-
Okay.
yeah.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Deputy Chief Roy Makoso, R-O-Y-M-O-K-O-S-S-O, Deputy Chief PIO for the St. Paul Fire Department. I'll go first and just kind of talk about the events that occurred early this morning, and then the chief will follow up with some remarks, and then after that, I'll take any questions. So a little after 1:30, crews were called to an address on the 1200 block of Arkwright. When they arrived, they found smoky conditions. They made entry. They found a fire, which they quickly extinguished. Crews were on scene. First crew was there just under 4 minutes. And then we had 3 crews there inside of 5 minutes. As soon as they had a knock on the fire, they started searches on the main floor. They ended up finding 7 individuals inside the home, 6 children and 1 adult. All of the individuals inside the home were taken outside where CPR was started. All the individuals were unconscious at the time of their rescue from the home. CPR was started, and then all individuals were transported by St. Paul Fire paramedics to a local hospital. Crews finished up at the scene, conducted overhaul, and started the investigation. The investigation does not appear to be suspicious. This appears to be an accidental fire. No responders were injured during firefighting activities. A total of 63 firefighters responded, 8 in fire apparatus, as well as 8 additional in our paramedic or ambulances, as well as 3 chief officers. And crews were on scene. Investigations kind of wrapped up around 5:30, but the majority of the firefighting activities were over within about 30 minutes, but crews were on scene for the better part of 2.5 hours. So with that, I'll turn things over to the chief, who has spoken to a number of the responders.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Chief Butch Inks, INKS for last name spelling. Just want to take this opportunity to thank the responders that responded to this event. In my almost 30-year career, I can count on one hand on how many times this happens. So it's a pretty significant event. And thanking the women and men of this department is the utmost priority for myself. Talked to a few of the responders that responded. Again, Chief Makoso mentioned the response times under 4 minutes, and having 5 apparatus there in under 5 minutes is an incredible response time. And the reason that these 7 individuals still have a chance right now. So one of our rescuers, one of our persons rescued three people. And I'll walk you through that real quick on how that works. We show up on scene in a house or dwelling that's visibility is nil, that you can't see anything. And this individual went in, quickly found one child, pulled the child out, went back in, found another child, pulled that child out, and then went back in for a 3rd time and found another child and pulled that child out, and began doing medical CPR on that child right as they exited the building. So it's a very traumatic event for our folks. We do this for a living, right? It's our job, but it's still, we're human beings, and it's very difficult to do a lot of times, and to maintain composure and to maintain the reason why we're there. So these individuals that responded today really performed heroic things, and these 7 individuals are in a hospital where hopefully, obviously receiving the best care that they can. So with that, that's all I have, so thank you.
Were there working smoke detectors in the home? How do you reconcile sort of the lack of visible damage to the significant number of injuries?
Sure. Yes. Indications are that there were working smoke detectors in the home at the time of the fire. Some of the things that probably impeded the occupants being able to get out is just the location of where the fire was and the location of where the bedrooms were. And the additional fact is that there are 6 children, 1 adult. I think the one thing I can say is that we'll continue through the investigation process to try to determine how we can turn around and use this information for our prevention education. But having working smoke detectors in the home, having an evacuation plan is always important to have.
What are the conditions of the 7?
Just based on HIPAA, we can't talk about it. I can tell you that the victims were brought out of the home unconscious. CPR was started right away, and all 7 were transported to local hospital. I did get an update, and 2 of the occupants were transported to a different hospital, and that was just based on needs and incapacity at the primary hospital where they were taken.
Are they all expected to recover?
I should probably address this also. There was an initial report that there was a fire fatality, and I think that came out early, and I'm not sure how that was reported, but all of the victims right now are in critical conditions. So that's about all I can report or say on that.
Shedding more light on the investigation, we saw a dozen squad cars there for quite some time after your crews left, but it seems you're saying it's not suspicious. So what leads you to believe it was more of an accidental fire?
In the investigation process, we utilize a scientific methodology, so the area of origin is investigated. We use monitors to determine whether there's any gasoline or any ignitable liquids that would be utilized, as well as witness testimony. So our partners within St. Paul Police do an excellent job of obtaining additional interviews, as well as collecting potential cell phone data or video from ring-type doorbells and things like that. So, but I can tell you that our investigators' preliminary report are leaning towards accidental, with common causes such as electricity or electrical, potentially smoking, or an unattended candle as potential sources of ignition. We also have contacted the State Fire Marshal's office and have notified them and working with them also.
What's the condition of the home, possible damage now?
From the overall total value or damage, I don't have a dollar amount, but I can tell you that I did check with the Department of Safety and Inspections. The home is in good state, and it's owner occupied.
Chief, was this a mom and her children?
There was 1 adult inside the home at the time, as well as 6 children. And then there was 1 adult that was at work that unfortunately had to be contacted. SPFD also helped with finding the individual and then contacting them at their work.
Chief, you commented this is one of the worst you've seen in your career. Can you tell us the last time you've seen anything that even compares to this? We don't see a lot of injuries in fires. We see a lot of property damage, but not always that many serious injuries.
Yeah, what comes to mind, again, 30 years on the job, it's to try to come back to one incident. But early on in my career, we had a fire on Lawson that where 5 children didn't make it. So that's what reminds me of this call, the significance of the rescues. Obviously, this so far is a different outcome, but that's what comes to one of the runs that come to mind and that I can comment on. So.
What can you tell us about the ages of the individuals that are inside?
Again, being the paramedic transport agency with HIPAA, I can tell you that 1 adult and 6 children were transported.
Can you tell us the significance of the time that you got there? You said within minutes. Obviously, that makes a difference in fighting a fire, but how much of a difference was that making rescuing people and giving them the best hope possible of making it?
Sure. Well, fire doubles in size every minute. So from the fire standpoint, crews were able to quickly make entry and get a knock on the fire. The majority of fire fatalities are due to asphyxiation. So 2 to 3 minutes without oxygen can lead to a fatality, or else can lead to conditions that could result in brain damage in the future. So.
Is there any indication that the occupants were awoken by the smoke detector but unable to get out versus just not hearing it and becoming overcome?
There was a 911 call made, and it's believed to be from the residents. Again, through additional investigation, we'll be able to hopefully learn more.
Does the age of the home make a difference at all? Was it an older home? Does that make a difference?
No, No, the age of the home would not make a difference in this situation. Again, just based on where the fire was, their primary means of egress, they would have had to go through that room. And so again, I just go back to having working smoke detectors and having an egress plan is incredibly important for you and your family, especially if you have young ones at home.
Can you talk about this time of year? Is this a time that we usually see more fires, the winter months or January in particular or anything like that?
Sure. Changes of season usually result in higher fires for us, or a greater amount of fires for us. As it kind of gets colder, people start firing up furnaces that barely made it through last year, start using space heaters, start smoking indoors. These are all things that we just start to see. Midwinter, that kind of levels off. And then, you know, in the spring, we start to see, you know, people smoking outdoors and leaving cigarettes on decks, people utilizing grills for cooking and then having them too close to homes, as well as wreck fires, and then fireworks also. So the change of season usually brings a spike in fires for us.
Are you able to tell us whether their injuries were more from smoke versus fire, or vice versa?
Preliminary reports indicate that the injuries are predominantly from smoke inhalation.
Going back to the 911 call, was it the adult in the home who called?
Again, there was a 911 call that's believed to be from the home, and there just wasn't much communication on the line.
Can you say where in the house the rescues were made?
All of the individuals were found on the first floor,
And where did the fire occur?
in the first floor.
And I know you gave the timeline for when crews arrived, and do you know how long it would have been from when they were able to begin the search?
I can work on getting that information from you. So from our arrival time to when lines are deployed, it's something that we train to. So being there, you know, inside of 4 minutes, most likely having lines deployed inside of 2 minutes, and then having a primary and backup line inside and extinguishing the fire. That time frame would probably all been about 7 minutes or 8 minutes from the time of dispatch, but I can work on getting the exact time for you.
Chief, you talked about how this was hard on the first responders who were there. Can you talk about, is there anything that you do for them now in the coming days? Obviously traumatic and they try and leave it behind, but is there anything that is done for them?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So we can set up a critical incident stress debriefing. It's a pretty formalized approach, but what our department has done and has been doing it for years is a peer support program where our own people go through specialized training to be available for our folks, and we've already started that process. I've reached out to the responders as well, see how they're doing. Our other chief officers, our leadership does that as well, not just today but throughout, and just see how they're doing and offer any help that they may need. We're not very good at asking for help, right? We're very good at responding and offering help, but we're not very good at saying, hey, I need some help. But we put programs in place to make that process easier for them. So thank you.
Can you give the name of the firefighter who called was it a firefighter who killed the 3 children?
Yes, as we kind of wrap this up, as we get more information, we definitely will release that. So, so with that, this is an unfortunate incident, and hopefully, you know, we can help share some of the things that can prevent this from happening for other people in their homes. And again, working smoke detectors and having an evacuation plan are the 2 things that you can do, and practicing that plan, especially if it involves children. I'll update folks via additional release if additional information comes out. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right.
Get you out this way. I got one thing for you.
Chief, your first name one more time?
First name? Yeah, Butch.